a super popular gaming platform where you can find tens of millions of children playing games at any given time on any given day. But how safe is it? More and more questions are being raised about predators grooming and exploiting children on the platform, Roblox. Now, the company says it's taking action to make sure kids are safe, but that's not the way it appears to everyone. Recently at CrimeCon, I hosted an investigative panel taking a look at the actual safety of Roblox and the dangers to children. Among those I interviewed Michael Schlep, who was a Roblox prodigy at the age of 10, but was later victimized by a predator and has most recently exposed other predators on the platform. His attorney, Stephen Vanderporten, has filed more than 1,000 lawsuits alleging negligence on the part of Roblox. And we also talked to Detective Henrik Osthed of the Marion County, Florida Sheriff's Office. He is investigating a number of other cases involving kids being exploited sexually on Roblox. Take a look. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here today. I have to talk to you about something very important. Do you know what Roblox is? Because if you don't, your children do. Roblox is a multi-level gaming platform. In a way, it is a game within a game. It's marketed towards children, sometimes as an educational experience. But our investigation that we've been conducting for a number of months now for our streaming crime network, True Blue, has shown that oftentimes it is a playground for predators seeking to exploit children. We've been working on this for some time, and we've been incredibly fortunate to come across some key characters in our documentary who are joining us today for this session. And if you've been following this on social media, you will know this next young man I'm going to introduce, Michael Schlep. Go ahead, Michael, have a seat. I like having to tell somebody to have a seat who's a good guy. Michael was a whiz kid on Roblox, 10, 11 years old, was then targeted by a predator, suffered the consequences, went on to be someone who tried to help Roblox focus on its predator problem. And how was he rewarded? By being banned. Michael is a key part of our investigation, as his attorney, Steve Vanderporten. Steve, come join me now, please. Steve is a lawyer based in Chicago. His firm is representing more than 500 cases of people like Schlep. And we're also very fortunate to be joined by a dedicated detective, Henrik Osthed, from the Marion County, Florida Sheriff's Department, with whom I've been working on this very investigation. Welcome, Detective. Thank you. Schlep, let's start with you. Tell me about your early experience on Roblox. Why did you enjoy interacting on the platform?
Well, Roblox, it was a children's game, you know. It was like little Legos, you know. I thought it was a cool game, and you know, I played the game over years, and I mean, you know, it evolved into me like taking it seriously, learning programming a little bit, and you know, I thought it was cool, but you know, it was pretty like crazy to see like, I guess, how it evolved from something innocent to something really bad.
You were actually invited to be part of a major Roblox event when you were, what, 11 years old?
Yeah, I was at a STEM event, and I helped them run a booth there. I was actually at 2 of them, so yeah.
You were a prodigy on Roblox.
Yeah, you could say that. I mean,
and there was a series of incidents where a very well-known content creator targeted you
Yeah.
Tell me what happened.
Yeah, so I met a very popular game developer, and I thought that this guy was a innocent, person. I thought he was a totally normal person, and I looked up to him because he created a game
He
that
was a bit of a hero to you.
yeah, he created a game that I really liked. I was like, oh my gosh, he's talking to me, he's interacting with me. I'm just a little kid. I didn't think anything of it. And what was created was this power dynamic where he was, oh my gosh, this crazy developer. I looked up to him and, I'm just a little kid. And it evolved into him taking advantage of me. And it went on for years. And, eventually it, resulted in me making an attempt on my own life.
You attempted to take your own life, and that breaks
Yeah.
my heart, and I'm sorry you had to go through that. No child should have to go through that. But you got through it
Yes.
with the help of your mother,
Yes.
who we've met.
Yeah. And when I was in the hospital, my mom contacted Roblox about the stuff that happened to me, and they totally brushed her off. They totally just excused everything.
And I've seen the letter that they sent, the email that they sent, and it was basically call your local police department.
Yeah, pretty much. It was called a suicide hotline, which
Suicide hotline, yeah.
what is that going to do? The email consisted of my child is in the hospital over a suicide attempt because of a game developer on your platform. So to send, here's a suicide hotline, that's just ridiculous.
No action whatsoever.
No action until years later, until another female developer came forward about her experiences, and only then he finally got removed.
And Schlep, I want to talk in a moment about your recent activism and your work on the platform. But first, I want to hear from your attorney. Steve, this is one of more than 500 cases your firm is handling against Roblox.
Yes, that's correct. And first and foremost, we couldn't be prouder to represent Schlep as one of our clients. But to your question, we now represent over 800, Chris, survivors with claims of sexual exploitation, grooming, extortion, and in the worst instances, sexual abuse and sex trafficking attributable to Roblox and to Discord, which is just a shocking number of cases in and of itself. But we're one firm, and what we're finding is that this is really the tip of the iceberg, that there are thousands of survivors like Schlep. This is a game that's been around for 20 years, and we have clients who experienced extraordinarily traumatic events back when Roblox was first launched, and we have clients who were introduced to child sex predators on Roblox as recently as this past summer. So this is endemic at Roblox.
There is a case in which you are involved where a 13-year-old girl was groomed by a predator on Roblox. He then kidnapped her from her grandmother's home in Iowa, took her to Tennessee, where she was repeatedly exploited.
It is every parent's worst nightmare what happened to one of our clients, a 13-year-old girl from Iowa, kidnapped in the middle of the night from her grandmother's home by somebody who she was introduced to in a Roblox game, sex trafficked across several states, went missing for 36 hours. The FBI got involved. Thankfully, she was able to escape and be reunited with her family. And Roblox is going to be rolling out all sorts of safety features and promoting all sorts of safety features that they're rolling out now. But what about her? And what about the lifelong trauma that she's going to experience as a result of the horrific incidents that happened this past summer?
And we're going to talk about Roblox's side of this during the course of this conversation as well. Detective Osthed and I have known each other for several months. In fact, we recently completed a predator takedown sting in Marion County, Florida, with the sheriff's office there. But before we conducted the sting with this incredible team in Marion County, we had sat down and interviewed Detective Osthed about his cases in Marion County involving Roblox. And listen to this for a second. Not only did they bust a 17-year-old with at least 15 victims, and we're going to talk about that in a second, but there's another case in Marion County, in this one county in Central Florida, where a 10-year-old girl was victimized on Roblox by a man in England. So if those two cases come to our attention just in Marion County, Florida, what is happening in the rest of Florida? What is happening in the rest of the United States? What is happening in the rest of the world? Detective, tell me about this case where the 17-year-old was arrested and is now being prosecuted.
Yes, we received, for those of you that don't know about NCMEC, National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, provided us with some information about someone that was believed to live within my jurisdiction, that they were engaging in quite a bit of exploitive, grooming behavior with children online, extremely sexually explicit conversations.
But basically, they're grooming these kids, or this guy was grooming these kids to actually act out sexually on themselves and other children, sometimes their siblings, correct?
That was exactly what happened. There were messages where this person was directing these kids to engage in sexual activity with their siblings. Executed a search warrant on the residence of the person I believed to be the predator, and met Christian Scribbin, who is a 17-year-old who, we had quite a conversation, and it was unbelievable to see his perspective and the scope of just what one 17-year-old person can do in a short amount of time.
We listened, and it will be part of our documentary on True Blue, to his conversation. He acted like this was no big deal to you.
Yeah, in his mind, he was not an adult, so this behavior wasn't going to be treated the same way. But I mean, when we talk about, two kids engaging in a certain type of conversation, that's concerning. But when we talk about predatory behavior, intentional concealing of your age, intentional seeking out of children every day, that's a much, much different story. And it was amazing to see his mentality on it.
Hey, Chris Hansen here, and let me tell you about a game changer I stumbled across while hunting for a new home office desk. I found this sleek mid-century modern piece online, perfect for recording the podcast, but the $2,500 price tag, well, it was a little hefty. I'm all about getting the real deal without overpaying, so when a friend mentioned dupe.com, I was intrigued. Typed in dupe.com / before the desk's URL, and boom, found a nearly identical desk from the same factory for $700, saving nearly 70%. The quality? Well, sturdy, polished, exactly what I needed. No flimsy knockoffs here. Dupe.com's a lifesaver, showing you high-quality alternatives for furniture, fashion, even jewelry without the brand name markup. I'm already eyeing a sharp leather jacket for way less than what I'd seen it for in the department stores. For you pros out there, designers, realtors, Dupe's trade program offers direct manufacturer prices plus a 10% commission. It's free, addictive, and blowing up on TikTok for a reason. Dupe.com really is so easy to use. Just type dupe.com / before any product URL in your browser. And boom, it instantly finds you less expensive alternatives. They even have an app and a browser extension you can download. No account required, no sign-up required. It's absolutely free to use, so stop wasting money on brand names and start saving with dupe.com today. Give me a sense for the damage, and you deal with these cases all the time, and I report on them, but you have to get into the nitty-gritty of it. And it's not pleasant.
It's not pleasant. I think the most unpleasant thing is the scope, is understanding the amount of cases just being reported it's unbelievable. The amount of work that has to be put into finding these kids and getting them out of these situations, it's immense.
You've identified 15 potential victims in this case so far.
Yes.
How much more is out there?
I can't speak specifically to ongoing investigations, but every time I think that I see the scope, right? Maybe it's this much and I can't believe it. It appears to be more. It's very significant, very prevalent. Parents need to know what's going on.
Roblox has said that it is enhancing its age verification and making it more difficult for predators to groom and exploit children. And the way this is supposed to work is when Roblox finds evidence of predatory behavior, the transmission of inappropriate material or inappropriate conversations, it's supposed to report it to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, which then refers these cases to law enforcement, like the Marion County Sheriff's Office. Is that the way this went down, basically?
Yes, in that particular case, that is the way it went down.
Dealing with Roblox, is enough being done, in your opinion, as a detective?
It's hard for me to know. I can speculate on exactly what's being done and what's not being done. I can say that when I had this particular case, I don't know if it was because of the media coverage it received or if it was for some other reason, but I did meet with Roblox. Over a Zoom call, I met with quite a bit of their outreach people, and we spoke about certain things that could change, things to take away from this particular case. I think until we can say that this is not happening anymore, enough is not being done.
Steve, one of the most alarming things that I learned from your investigation into these cases, and you guys may know this, but there's a currency on Roblox called Robux, and kids can buy into different things and areas. And Schlep, I'm going to ask you about this too after we talk to Steve. But you explained to me how child pornography is being traded on the platform using this currency, and that Roblox actually profits from this, whether it tries to or not, because it gets 30% of every transaction. Explain that to everybody here.
Yeah, so Roblox, they designed their game not only to be just wildly addictive for children, but they made it such that in order to have a satisfactory game experience, you want to try and acquire things through the Roblox store or use Robux to acquire things for your digital avatar. And so kids are constantly trying to acquire Robux, as a primary goal of playing the game. And what we've discovered, quite shockingly, is that yes, Robux takes a transaction fee from every Robux transaction, but some of those transactions are invitations or requests from child predators to exchange child sex abuse material. And it's just astounding that there could be a direct financial link between that kind of material and Roblox's bottom line.
Is this a case potentially of racketeering or being complicit in the transmission of child pornography?
I think that that there is certainly a benefit derived from the exchange of child sexual abuse material that Roblox receives. Whether this rises to racketeering, whether it rises to a crime, there's undoubtedly law enforcement out in the audience, possibly state's attorneys or district attorneys. I'm not a criminal attorney, and I'll leave it to them to make that determination. But there is a financial link, and that in and of itself is rather shocking.
Civil liability.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They made choices over the last 20 years with respect to how they designed their game. This is a children's game, and there is sexually explicit content in the game environments. I mean, take a step back and just think about that. In a game for kids, your kids could be exposed to sexualized content. And not only that, but they could be introduced to people who know through Robux and other ways that children are vulnerable to manipulation, and that they want these Robux to make these transactions. And And we've just seen countless cases of kids get groomed and manipulated in this way. And again, this is a choice that Roblox made when they didn't decide to control this earlier. And so yes, we intend to hold them accountable for the choices that they've made over the years.
Young Schlep, what made you decide, and he deserves it, by the way, he deserves it. What made you decide to show this predatory activity that was going on Roblox? What made you become an advocate for this?
So I started out as just a normal Roblox content creator. I made games on like a really basic kids game. You would see it, you would not think there's any way predators could infiltrate this game or anything like that. And what I saw was there were people trying to do horrible stuff with children within this community. And it blew my mind, like, because this is a community I really cared about, I was very involved in. And, you know, I would get emails from children saying, hey, there's this predator, he's messaging me inappropriately, and this is his Roblox account, can you do something? And there was really nothing I could do. But, I mean, as time went on, these messages only just increased in volume. And then I created my current main channel, Schlep, and on that channel, it just exploded. I was getting these emails more than daily.
You exposed at least 6 different predators on Roblox, all 6 of which all 6 of whom were prosecuted by law enforcement. But you went to Roblox first.
So, yeah, we would find Roblox predators, and we would set up little decoy stings. And, you know, these predators would show up thinking that there was a child to engage in horrible activity with them. And we would sit down, we would have a conversation, sort of similar to what you do. And, you know, they would...
By the way, I was 22 when I started as a television reporter. That's how old Schlep is now. Yeah. Just saying.
Yeah, we would talk to them, and a lot of times when the cops would show up, they would just admit to everything. Even after being Mirandized, they would be like, yeah, I was here to do this. And they would just bring charges on them every single time.
And how did Roblox respond to this?
In multiple instances, after we got these felony arrests on child predators, we would send them the same Google Drives that we were sending to law enforcement, and they would not take action until after our videos would release, which would get millions of views.
You get millions of views on these videos.
Correct.
It can't be a proud moment for Roblox. It's somewhat embarrassing. What does Roblox do then?
I made it very clear to Roblox, you know, I was willing to handle stuff privately with them, and I just wanted a line to the company. After one of my first arrests, that was literally what I put out. I was victimized on this platform as a kid, and that I wanted a line so I could properly communicate with them to report these individuals. And, you know, Roblox, they never gave me anything until what happened very recently.
Which was?
A cease and desist letter.
A cease and desist letter. So get this, all right? Schlep, who's doing this work, receives a cease and desist letter from Roblox, essentially threatening legal action and insinuating that he was breaking the law and certainly breaking the terms of service with Roblox. Now, Steve, we looked at this cease and desist letter during the course of our interview. I spent a whole day last week in Chicago at Steve's law office with him, his partner, Schlep, and Schlep's mom for our documentary on True Blue. And it was just an amazing and eye-opening experience, even for a journalist who's been doing this for 43 years. I mean, it's shocking that a corporate citizen would not seize on the opportunity to make him a part of the solution as to target him as a villain. Does this surprise you, Steve?
It absolutely surprised all of us. They had an opportunity to make Schlep a partner, an ambassador of moderation, of safety. And instead, what we're seeing is Roblox has its public-facing actions, which are very, flowery, positive statements about everything it's doing about safety. And behind the scenes, they're trying to silence critics. They are removing content that Schlep and others have identified from their platform to cover their tracks. And they are trying to move cases that have been filed, including cases that we've filed on behalf of minor children, into confidential arbitration, where public scrutiny of the company, of the choices they made, of what they knew when they knew it, would be completely impossible.
Is this arbitration a normal part of dealing with a case like this, or is this a way to hush people?
It's a way to hush survivors of sexual assault, and it is unconscionable. It's something that the United States Congress in 2023 decided through legislation that they were not going to permit forced arbitration of sexual assault cases. Unfortunately, that law is prospective only, so anything that would have happened before 2023, they're going to attempt to push it into arbitration. But it's not even just a question of law, because we're confident we're going to beat down the arbitration provisions, but it's a question of values for Roblox. What are Roblox's values? And they have core values that they represent to the public, and I can tell you, if you go look them up, they're the complete opposite of pushing minors into a confidential arbitration.
Detective, and I don't want you to, obviously, I don't want to put you in a position to give away tradecraft, because this work you do is so critical and so important, and we've had the benefit of seeing you in action. But based upon your work, going after predators and people who exploit children, are you surprised at the level of predatory activity on this platform?
I'm not surprised based on how it is set up. I am shocked that it is there and that it's continuing. I feel that there's specific things that, getting into tradecraft, I can't specifically talk about here, but very specific things that could be done that would be easy, that would quash a significant amount of it. I know that information has been relayed by myself and other investigators.
So you and other detectives have shared your thoughts about this based upon real-life investigative experience to the company, to Roblox.
Yes, and they facilitated those interactions.
Right.
Which, on the one hand, that's fantastic. I meet with them, we talk about a few things, they say, okay, we'll have to get with our people. And then I'm at another interaction several months later, and the same things are brought up by other people, and the reaction is the same. Oh, these are great ideas. The same people I spoke to several months ago. I don't know what's happening behind the scenes. All I know is the grooming, the sexual exploitation of children is continuing.
It's continuing as we sit here on this stage, even though you and others have given suggestions, concrete steps to prevent it from happening.
Yes, I mean, where's the value? Is the value in allowing predatory creators to do what they want on the platform, or is the value in maybe having less creativity allowed by predatory creators and protecting children? I think that's the question. The question is, are we going to be part of the problem or the solution? Because even if you're saying we don't want to punish moderators on a platform, we don't want to punish people, or be responsible for their actions, you still own the platform. This is Roblox. If something's happening on Roblox, and you know it's happening on Roblox, you have a responsibility to protect those who cannot protect themselves, because that's a significant amount of people on Roblox.
And I'll share with you at this point that we have reached out to Roblox for, comment on the allegations contained in our reporting for our documentary on True Blue. I'm hoping they will sit down with us. So far, that has not happened. They've offered to continue the dialogue off camera, but this is TV. So it raises the question, Steve, why would a company conceivably want predators on its platform? Who benefits from that?
It is the reality that anything that limits user engagement, anything that limits or constrains the number of users that Roblox can say that they have or can have, will limit their and affect their bottom line. And they're a publicly traded company, and they have demands, of course, as all companies do. But to the officer's point, it's a calculus that they have to make, and right now they're making the wrong one, which is they're going to maximize their usership as much as possible, regardless of the consequences.
If you follow Schlep on social media and on his YouTube, you will see him expose some of these games in areas of Roblox that are, racy, questionable, that are accessible to 5-year-olds.
Yeah, I mean, Roblox, as of this exact moment, has smash or pass games that 5-year-olds can play.
What is a smash or pass game?
If you're willing to smash someone or pass...
Have sex with them.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. They allow games like that 5-year-olds can access.
So there are avatars that people create, and 5-year-olds can participate in smash or pass?
And the most disturbing part, they can play with like 45-year-olds in that same lobby.
Who is in these groups, these games?
I would love to know. I absolutely would love to know who is participating and creating, and I mean, it's really...
But what is the purpose of something like this?
I don't know, but I find a really interesting thing right now is that while we're sitting here on this panel, the CEO of Roblox is at a convention called the Roblox Developer Conference speaking probably about safety and how safe their platform is. And, you can go onto Roblox and find this stuff right now. Like, it's super ironic, and that's really like one thing the community really saw through with all the statements they were putting out. I mean, they were claiming all this stuff about safety, but the average user sees all this stuff. They know what's going on.
Did Roblox try to silence you?
Yes. I whistleblowed on their predator problem, and they took action against me. And it wasn't even like, they specifically made it that I cannot even play on their platform anymore. Like, they made it so I can't create new accounts. So it was very strategic in why they did that. If they genuinely cared about this, they would have reached out to someone like me, someone who has been victimized on this platform, who's trying to make it better.
What does that say about the corporate culture at Roblox?
Honestly, I don't even know. It really is disturbing. I think that's the only way you can put it as. It's very disturbing, and I mean, I wonder if like these corporate executives would let their kids play these sort of games.
It's an interesting question, isn't it? Detective, what do you say, based upon everything you've learned, everything you know about the activity on this platform? What do you say to parents?
I'd say that there are individuals, a significant amount of individuals on that platform who have an obscure sexual interest in the violation of innocence. And I would say, with that being the case, if it was my children, I would not put them on there. It's unavoidable that they will encounter sexual themes at the very least. It's so rampant because of creativity, right? And that's what we love about children, is that they are creative and they are curious. But with those two things comes a horrible, we'll call it a brew, where these predators can exploit both of those
confluence.
Things. Exactly. And so where it stands now, Roblox is inarguably not safe for children.
Now explain to me the relationship between Roblox and Discord, and how that is another danger zone for children on the platform?
Without getting into too much, we deal with, there's certain features in place that Roblox does do, right? It's very difficult to share any sort of media on the platform. So when we talk about having open conversations, that also can't happen because of certain algorithms in place. So what predators will do is they will move children. So they'll go to the place where the children are, right? Think of it like going to the park. Roblox is the park. They'll go to the park, they'll find the children, specifically in places where exploitable children might go, playing certain games and in certain communities, and then they will move them to Discord. And in Discord, it is very easy to get away with a lot of things, to speak about things very plainly, to share media very plainly in these servers where you can create a server, that's what it's called, where you set it up to look as one thing, and then once someone gets a certain role, you can view these hidden rooms. And in these hidden rooms, the grooming can take place, the extortion can take place, the direction to produce child sexual abuse material does take place. And that is a significant theme I've seen throughout several cases, both active and closed.
And Steve, is there a business relationship between Roblox and Discord?
Yes, they share a user base. After years of Roblox essentially banning references to Discord, they did a complete 180, and now you can link your Discord account in Roblox and a whole bunch of other off-platform social media accounts. Roblox has a bot on Discord. They have a symbiotic relationship, Chris, and they've known about the issues with Discord. I think everybody has. And they've decided that rather than prevent their users from being able to be moved off platform, they're going to make it easier. And there's no other way to look at their relationship as one of business.
Now, Discord has said recently that it's changing some of the access rules to 17 and above for some of these different sites. Yet it still appears, and Schlep just spoke to this, that kids as young as 5 can access these areas, some of which have very adult, explicit conversation, themes, and activities.
Yeah, I mean, just recently, Roblox announced that they were going to limit chat function for anyone under the age of 13. But that still leaves 13-year-olds with the ability to chat with complete strangers. And going back to our case in Iowa, that's a 13-year-old girl right there.
Well, in our experience with our takedown predator investigations, the key targets are 13, 14, and 15 years old. So what does it achieve by having age verification for somebody who's 13?
Nothing. They don't want to take real action because they know that when they take real action, it's going to affect the bottom line.
And I just want to let you guys know that we're going to save a little time at the end to take some questions. So in a few minutes, if you want to start lining up the microphones, if you have specific questions for anybody on the stage here, feel free to do so. Schlep, what's the most shocking thing you've seen on Roblox? And people ask me that all the time about the predator investigations, and I always say, well, it's a 100-way tie for first. But give these folks some examples of the things that you've come across that are just wholly inappropriate for children.
I saw a community on Roblox. These are called MAPs, minor attracted people.
Yeah, and that's exactly where I was going with this. Go on.
Yeah, it was a community of these people. They were organized, like it was a network where the whole thing was to trade child pornography for Robux. And
for Robux.
Yeah,
which
Roblox
is the currency we talked about earlier.
Yeah. And it was literally, you go into the group, you'd see all these people, add me, I'm a map, and just like these people are using it to do that. And I sent a report to Roblox regarding it, and nothing happened. Like I sent a proper support ticket to them. And then I went on to The Sun and I talked about it there. And then finally action got taken.
So for anybody who doesn't know, MAPS stands for Minor Attracted Persons, which is dog whistle for stone cold pedophile and trader of child pornography. And this should be known to the people who run the platform.
Oh, absolutely. And I think the most disturbing part, which you guys touched on a little bit, was how Roblox is profiting off of it. It's not actually 30%, it's actually more like 70% because there's a marketplace fee, and on top of that, there's a developer exchange fee. So they're taking a lot of that money in, which, I mean, that's just insane.
It seems unconscionable that a publicly traded corporation could knowingly allow child pornography to be traded on its platform, number one, but number two, to profit from it. It's abhorrent.
It's interesting because if this was Disney or any other company doing something like this, I mean, it would be the number one thing everywhere. But it's very interesting to see how a lot of this has been covered up, and I think a lot of that is because Roblox is trying to suppress a lot of this information from coming out.
Steve, Roblox may say, look, the predators are the criminals here. The traffickers in child porn are the criminals here. They're just using our platform, our superhighway, where we also have legitimate games, educational products, and things that really are good and engaging for children. It's not our fault that these evil people are exploiting something that we conceived that is educational and appropriate. How do you respond to that?
Well, I think that they have an obligation, and this is part of the claims we assert in our lawsuit, but they have heavily engaged in marketing and advertising campaigns, to the detective's point, advertising this game as not only safe, but as educational. And if they're aware of these risks and withhold them from the public, they're deceiving the public about what this game really is and what the consequences are. But separate from that, I disagree with the premise that they have no responsibility for what goes on their platform. They're profiting from it. They designed it. They employ hundreds of monitors, allegedly, to try and detect it. And they have these reporting functions, which Schlep and other people will tell you are completely flawed and completely ineffective. So I reject the premise that they can throw their hands up and say, you know, we're just providing a marketplace for this abhorrent behavior and we don't have any obligation to protect the fundamental group who we advertise this to, which is children.
Detective, one of the most alarming things to me, just taking a look at the few cases that we're aware of and looking at in your county in Florida, the one case where the 10-year-old girl was victimized, the mother, who's a very good human being, solid parent, homeschools the child, did not allow her 10-year-old to go on Roblox. The 10-year-old, based upon intel gathered from her older siblings, was able to access Roblox without the parent knowing. And then was groomed into a conversation by a predator in England, right? Half a world away. And she didn't find out, the parent didn't find out about all this until she oddly got a notice on an Instagram account that she no longer used from this predator trying to reach out to the 10-year-old daughter. So here's a parent who's very vigilant, and her child still was targeted here. What does that say to you?
It says that it can happen to anybody. It can happen to anyone's children, even people who think their children aren't on the platform. The allure is so alluring, right? I mean, children love Roblox. It was created to be extremely enjoyable, addicting, whatever you want to call it, to them, and they want to go play on Roblox. The problem lies in whether or not Roblox is safe. If you have the knowledge that something is not safe, and you know that something is happening, you have the responsibility. I'm not a lawyer, but morally and ethically, you have a responsibility to do something about that. This mother, she saw what was happening to her 10-year-old child, who, by the way, was promised Robux over and over for the production of child sexual abuse material. She turned everything over, did everything she could. It's just horrible to see. I mean, this isn't just children who are given a tablet and no attention that are being exploited. This is so many children in the best circumstances, in the worst circumstances, and everything in between.
All right, let's take some questions from folks in the crowd, and it's a little hard for me to see you, so if I call you sir instead of ma'am, please don't get mad at me. We'll start over there. Sir.
Sure, no problem. Chris, thank you. I had a question, really a two-part question for anyone, but mainly Schlep. A lot of your supporters online have made allegations about the chief executive of Roblox. Many of them have falsely claimed, without any evidence, that he himself is a predator. Do you think that that's harmful to your mission, to see a lot of the internet trolling that has supported your movement and understands what your mission is? But when you start calling someone falsely a predator, like the chief executive of Roblox, do you think that's harmful? And then could you maybe all speak about, it's maybe not necessarily very older folks on these platforms like Roblox, it's a lot of older teenagers and young adults that are doing the grooming, and that are, when you look at what a predator looks like, it's a lot of older teens themselves possibly that grew up using Roblox and then turn themselves into the groomers of children.
I think that's an excellent question, and you know exactly what he's getting to, because that's the way the internet goes. You take something that's very positive and it spins too far.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Go ahead.
I totally denounce that. I think that's just really not made, like, you know, these people, at the end of the day, they're trying to do their jobs. And I think that trying to push for safety and like trying to get Roblox to do stuff, that's the right way to approach this sort of stuff. But yeah, I agree with you.
Making false allegations is not the way to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And I think we can all get on board with that. And in terms of what he said about the demographic of the predator, I mean, that's exactly what we saw in one of your cases. This guy was 17 years old. Now, I would argue, what's the difference in damage caused between a 17-year-old and a 37-year-old? They're adults and should know better. But based upon what you're saying, do you think that this is, in some cases, a younger, albeit adult, profile of a predator?
Yeah, a lot of the predators are like, 20 to 30 years old, which, I mean, a lot of predators that do get caught in general are much older than that. But at the end of the day, they're still adults. They're taking advantage of people.
There are studies that show that when children are exploited as children, they're more likely to exploit others as they get older. It's a sad study. It's a cycle. But to this audience member's point, these are people who grew up playing Roblox, and if they were exposed to this sexualized content, then they may think it's appropriate when
and it
it's
desensitizes the danger too.
Correct.
It's an excellent question. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Schlep, my son has had me obsessed with this all summer, and we've signed the petitions. So I just wanted to say to you, thank you very much for being an excellent example to a 14, 15-year-old.
Thank you.
There's a lot of really, really bad examples for young men out there, and I wish more people were like you to be really good examples for them. And I have a question for the lawyer. I have a non-binary kid who was groomed on Discord when they were going through the pandemic, and it didn't go that far where they were taken from the home or anything, but I had to put them in therapy. So I'm wondering if you're only pursuing things that happened because of Roblox, or if you're looking at cases outside of Roblox grooming, or how far you're going with things.
Yeah, we are certainly looking at Discord and at cases that involve only Discord. And I've sat with countless parents.
Only Roblox, you mean?
No, we're looking at Discord-only cases as well. So if you want, you and I may be able to connect after this, but
Okay.
and I'd be happy to talk more with you about it. But I've sat with countless parents like yourself during the pandemic when kids were home. These games exploded, and these parents now feel incredibly guilty because their children were playing them in their living room right with them, and they had no idea. So we can talk after this.
I would love that. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, first of all, I want to thank all of you for this incredibly important work, but especially Schlep, because you're the only one who this isn't your job. You took it on as your mission, and you spoke truth to power.
Very true.
And that's really just incredible to see.
Thank you.
My question is, so far, nothing you've said about what Roblox puts up as a roadblock, see what I did there, is the difficulty of stopping this behavior. And the fact that they shut you down completely in an instant tells me they have the capabilities, and you're also giving them, the people. So how are they possibly hiding behind anything along the lines of, this is out of our hands, this is something we can't do?
Yeah, I find that very interesting you bring that up, because when all this news broke about what happened with me in Roblox, people in games started making these little free Schlep protests, and Roblox started shutting that down. They started banning the games as streamers were playing it, and it raises an interesting question. Why aren't they doing that to these predators? I mean, that's, it shows they've had the capabilities this entire time to do this, but now they're taking it against people that are actively showing against
Tell them about the T-shirts.
Oh yeah, people are making free Schlep T-shirts and.
So Roblox on the Roblox platform, you can buy a free Schlep T-shirt.
Yeah.
And they're taking a cut of it, but he can't get on Roblox.
Yeah. Yep.
You can't make this up.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I was just wondering if the FBI can be involved, or is there going to be a class action lawsuit? I think sending child porn over the internet, isn't that considered an FBI type crime? And also, if any of these cases are in separate states, would you guys ever be considering doing a class action lawsuit or something like that? If there's not, I just was wondering if there is a way to get Roblox shut down, or at least to get them to respond in a way that you would like to be more positive, instead of shutting down Schlep and all of that, instead of all of these predators.
I think that'd be a great question.
Yeah, I think that's a good Steve question there. I mean, what would represent justice in these 500+ cases?
I mean, let's start with the premise that nobody here is trying to kill Roblox or shut it down. We're trying to improve it. And what accountability looks like is that they need to remedy every individual person who has been harmed on their platform. To your question about a class action, it's unlikely it would be a class action. There's possibility that the cases would get consolidated into a single state, or that a single judge would end up handling all the cases. Right now, there are cases filed in every state. So that hasn't happened yet. But I would say that that's more likely where this case would go, as opposed to filing a class action, just because the individual stories and the damages suffered are quite distinct. But in terms of the FBI, I really don't know the answer to that. But it's something that we think that public officials should be looking at. And so if you feel like it's something that is important to you, and you feel like Roblox shouldn't be forcing minor survivors into confidential arbitration, we'd ask that you go home and write your congressperson about it, because we can only do so much. But congresspeople should listen to their constituents.
And I think it's important to remember that law enforcement is, I mean, this gentleman on the end here spends every waking hour at his job investigating the exploitation of children, whether it's on Roblox or whether it's on any other platform. That's his mission in life. You know, and there's a Detective Osthed in every sheriff's office, every police department in the nation. So, you know, people are looking at this. It's just such an overwhelming issue. I mean, just from announcing that we're doing the documentary on True Blue, it's difficult to keep up with everybody who's reaching out to us. We're trying our best, but this is not going to be a one-time documentary. This is a new series for us. There's so much there. But it's a great question, and we appreciate it.
Looking forward to it. And Chris, how could you be doing this 43 years when you're only 40?
Good product. That's what it is. Good product. Yes, ma'am.
Hi there. If Roblox has not, they have not yet, I think they will rue the day that they permanently banned you and started the domino fall of the free Schlep movement. I think what y'all are doing is incredible work. My question for y'all is, where do you think Roblox's biggest failure in their mod system is?
Oh, man. I think, personally, it is the games that they're allowing. I mean, any parent can just look at this game, be like, oh, this is a horrible game. My kid should not play this. 5-year-olds shouldn't be able to play this. Anybody can look at a game and tell you, oh, yeah, I can join within 4 seconds and see inappropriate content. But what's fascinating is when the CEO responded to all of the stuff regarding vigilantes, he named a game specifically where you would join, you would instantly see inappropriate stuff. And he doubled down on that game. And so did all the chief safety officer and all the other people. So it really comes down to the fundamental basis that these people that are high up at the company don't see the same value like you and I would in these games that obviously shouldn't be on the platform, shouldn't be on the platform. And that's where a lot of exploitation that I've seen has been taking place in.
Like
Well said.
City in the bathroom, all the public restrooms.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, that to me is
so
shocking.
gross.
I mean,
Yeah.
For people who don't know, speak to that briefly.
Yeah, so Roblox allows games called public bathroom simulators where you can shower with children. Like literally shower with children. There's naked avatars. They have custom avatar editors where you can make naked avatars. And Roblox, for the longest of time, up until all this new controversy, has repeatedly been doubling down on these sort of games. And every content creator on Roblox has been speaking out against it. One of the largest content creators, Creekcraft, left the Star Creator program, which is Roblox's influencer program, because Roblox was hosting these games. So, they're very aware of these games. And I mean, to anybody, they can tell you this shouldn't be on a kid's game.
No.
But Roblox, they see it differently.
All right, we've got time for a couple more. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I was just wondering if you could maybe speak to how other creative sandbox like Minecraft compares to Roblox. Is it more because of the Robux incentives and those sorts of things that makes it more appealing?
Schlep, you speak to that. You're more in touch with it than I am.
Say Minecraft?
Minecraft.
Yeah. So I think the difference is Roblox is just a fundamentally different game. There is cases of exploitation on Minecraft, but Minecraft is just totally set up as an entirely different game. I mean, the thing with Roblox is they're hosting these communities where people trade and exchange child pornography. And I mean, that's something you don't see necessarily on Minecraft, at least I haven't. But Roblox has a vast issue with it. And I think the way they have accounts set up and Roblox's currency and in-game rare items, it all contributes to a culture which, allows power and, people being taken advantage of.
So it is more incentivized.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I just want to thank all of you for being here and raising the awareness to this. Schlep, my 9-year-old son, plays Roblox and he follows you, so he's very aware of what's been going on. And I just want to thank you because he's aware of these things. But I guess my question is, you had said that if you had kids, officer, that you wouldn't let them on the platform. So, I mean, Schlep, you were a kid. If your mom said, okay, you can't play that anymore, your world would fall apart. So what should we as parents do, with our kids, because if I go home and tell them Schlep
Yeah.
said you shouldn't play this game
They'll
anymore,
listen.
I'm
They'll
pretty
listen to
sure
us.
he
They'll
just
listen to
wouldn't.
Schlep. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally understand that. I think the most important thing is parental supervision. If your kid is on the platform, you need to see who they're interacting with and talking to. You need to be educated on the platform. And the parental features, they are not the best, but they're something to definitely look into. From the last I saw, Roblox only allows you to block 100 games on the entire platform, but which should be unlimited. You should be able to block as many games as you want. So yeah, I definitely think that parental supervision and the parental controls are stuff to look into. Yeah, for sure.
Fostering a culture of openness about what is happening on media and fostering a culture within the home that there is not privacy on their device. And it's not because they're bad, it's not because they're in trouble, it's because that's the world we live in. There will not be privacy for someone's child on that device, right? That is the best culture to have in the home. That's where I see the cases that would have gone way further. They don't happen because the child says something really embarrassing happened to me today, and they understand it's not their fault, right? That culture in the home it's so important, and that will stop a significant amount of this from happening.
And I agree. I mean, no matter how many stories we do or episodes we do, these guys aren't going away, right? I thought we'd do the Predator investigation 3 times and who would show up? Well, here we are 21 years later, and plenty of people are showing up. So, you got to tell your kids there are adults online who want to trick them. Kids don't like to be tricked. And if you don't know somebody in real life, you don't know them online. And that's where it starts. And I've interviewed too many people who've lost kids to suicide because of sextortion. And all they had to do was come to their parents and say, look, I messed up, And grandma's not going to care if a silly picture of you is on the internet. And those kids would be alive today.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you all for being here. My question you touched on a little earlier in terms of something that's been in the media a lot this year, legislation's getting involved in multiple countries about age verification and it being applied widespread across the internet. But my question here is specifically in situations like Roblox, Discord, social media, how is verifying your age of the person who owns the account actually going to do anything to prevent the kind of situations that kids are getting into and falling prey to on these platforms? Because I know there's also situations outside of Roblox on other platforms where this also happens. Like, how is this widespread move towards age verification just to get an account actually going to affect using the platform?
Schlep.
Yeah, I personally think that these age verification stuff, I mean, I think it's needed, but it's not the solution. The thing with this is you can read journalists as they look into Roblox games that have, 17 plus. They'll talk like, I joined a lobby and half the people in there were children, very obvious children. So people are grabbing their parents' IDs and somehow verifying, or they're using their siblings' accounts, and that has led to actual real cases of kids being abducted. There was a 10-year-old in California who was abducted off of a 17-plus Roblox game. So clearly these age verification stuff, it is something that is needed, but I don't necessarily think it's an overall solution. I think the solution is really better safety and moderation on their platform.
Okay, thank you.
I want to thank you all very much. I'm getting the hard wrap now sign. Schlep, thank you. Steve, thank you. Henrik, thank you very much. How lucky are we to have this panel to kick off CrimeCon? There is so much more to this story, so many other victims of sexual exploitation. And what is Roblox doing to combat this? It's all going to be the subject of a new investigation, a documentary we're putting together, myself and my streaming crime network, True Blue. You'll see that out in the very near future. In the meantime, I'll see you next time on Have a Seat with Chris Hansen.